Request everyone to be seated, please.
Hello. Hello.
Srinivasan sir, the program is going to start. Music, please. All of you can be seated, please. Thank you.
Hello.
Your voice is not audible. Actually, can use the mic for thing rather than the instrument.
That's okay. Whatever it is, okay. Okay,
Next performance, keep the mic.
पे रखना, तबले पे रखना जरूरी। तू अकेले गा दे। गिर जाएगा ना।
गाएंगे तो दोनों गाएंगे वरना कोई गाएंगे। एक तो कैच भी नहीं करना है ना इतना ज़्यादा। पकड़ लेते कोई ऐसे।
इसको और बढ़ा
छोड़
बढ़ा।
बड़ा हिंद के बहादुरों, हिंद के हिंद के बहादुरों, हिंद के हिंद के बहादुरों, वक्त की पुकार है, बढ़ना है बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है। हिंद के बहादुरों, वक्त की पुकार है, बढ़ना है बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है। मम्मा ममा मगा मगा सनी सधा धनी सगा सगा सनी सगा मधा मधा मगा मधा नि सधा नि सा सगा सा नि सनी धनी धा मधा मा सगा सनी सनी धनी धा मधा मगा मधा नि सा गा मधा नि सा गा मधा नि सा। दिलों में जलती आग है, हथेलियों पे जान है, हौसले बुलंद है, गगन छूने वाले हैं। दिलों में जलती आग है, हथेलियों पे जान है, हौसले बुलंद है, गगन छूने वाले हैं। आंधिया चले या बिजलियां गिरे, आंधिया चले या बिजलियां गिरे, हनुमान की छलांग लेके तीर बन के चलना है, हनुमान की छलांग लेके तीर बन के चलना है। हिंद के बहादुरों, वक्त की पुकार है, बढ़ना है बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है। हिंद के बहादुरों, वक्त की पुकार है, बढ़ना है बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है। बढ़ना है बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है, आगे सबसे बढ़ना है। थैंक यू।
खराब है। अबे ऑटो आ रही है, मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है इसमें।
हेलो चेक, हेलो चेक।
आगे जाके पकड़ो, ठीक है? तो 4 मिनट पकड़ा होगा। इसका नहीं है
सकल लोकमान सहुने वंदे, सकल लोकमान सहुने वंदे, निंदा न करे के नीरे, वाच काच मन निश्चल राखे, धन धन जननी के नीरे, वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे, पीर पराई जाने रे, पर दुखी उपकार करे तो ये, पर दुखी उपकार करे तो ये, मन अभिमान ना आने रे, वैष्णव जन तो तेरे कहिए जे, पीर पराई जाने रे, पीर पराई जाने रे, पीर पराई जाने रे।
आओ 1 2 3 स्टार्ट
डायरेक्ट
लाउड
रे ना रे ना रे ना ए ना रे ना रे 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 ना
जागो के अब तीन रंग से सजा है ये आसमां।
जागो के अब तीन रंग से सजा है ये आसमां।
राग देश धुन गा रही है पवन,
राग देश धुन गा रही है पवन। ठहर के बोले समय अमर है देश मेरा। ओ जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो। ओ जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो।
ये बात
एकता के धागे बंधे हुए विभिन्नता में,
है कोटि जीवन गुथे हुए स्वाधीनता में।
एकता के धागे बंधे हुए विभिन्नता में,
है कोटि जीवन गुथे हुए स्वाधीनता में। हो के तन में आज मन गाए हैं अमर है देश मेरा।
Thank you, sir. I'll invite everyone to come. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 12th edition of the Sansad Ratna Awards. We will be starting in just a few moments. I invite our dignitaries to please come up on the stage and have your seats on the stage, please. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste, sir. I'm doing well. A very good morning to everybody. Good morning, Honorable Chief Election Commissioner of India.
वन्दे मातरं सुजलां सुफलां मलयज शीतलां सस्यश्यामलां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रजोत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमधर शोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदा वरदा मातरं वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्
Thank you. We have our jury committee member and Honorable Member of Parliament, Mr. N.K. Premachandran, who's joining us right now. To address our esteemed audience here this morning, I invite Ms. Priyadashini Rahul, the Trustee Secretary of Prime Point Foundation and the President of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, to deliver her welcome address.
A very good morning to the august gathering present here. Welcome to the 12th edition of Sansad Ratna Awards function. Sri Sushil Chandra, Honorable Chief Election Commissioner of India, who has introduced exemplary electoral reforms during his tenure and a champion in gender equality and women empowerment. A hearty welcome to you, sir. His preaching, practice, thought process is truly a blessing of our time. I'd also welcome Sri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State Parliamentary Affairs and Culture, and the Jury Committee Chairman of Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, an outstanding parliamentarian and a pillar of support for over a decade now. Welcome, sir. Honorable Members of Parliament, Sri N.K. Premachandran and Sri Rangappa Barne, our Jury Committee members and outstanding parliamentarians themselves. Welcome, sir. Legendary leader with an ocean of knowledge and extraordinary track record. It's an honor in welcoming Dr. Veerappa Moily, former Chief Minister of Karnataka and former Union Cabinet Minister. Welcome, sir. I also welcome Sri Hansraj Ahir, former Minister of State Home Affairs, our patron and the past Jury Committee member, for being with us today. Welcome, sir. The stars of this event, our Sansad Ratna Award-winning Member of Parliament, we welcome you with all our respect and admiration. Your performance make us perform better. We also welcome our invitees, friends from the media, students and professors from the Hindu College, and the rest of the ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us today. I also welcome our supporting partners, Indus Bank, Satyabama University, DAV schools from Chennai, and BPPC being with us. Thank you so much. I also welcome Sri Prime Point Srinivasan, the founder chairman of Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, the man with a great vision and dedication for a betterment of the society. Yes, we are at the 12th edition of Sansad Ratna Awards function with all your support and belief in our humble initiative in celebrating democracy. Sansad Ratna Awards Committee felicitates the best performing parliamentarians for the past 12 years under the guidance and in light the wonderful efforts and performances of parliamentarians, and your support to take our work keeps us going and growing further. The values in our constitution and celebrating democracy are the mantras we believe in. We own a constitution that is unique, exclusive, with contrasting features. It is complemented with checks and balances. Such a complex structure with a huge population, yet passionately bound as a nation, was possible only because of our political system, which never gave up. Our political representatives and politicians have ensured this largest democracy grows from strength to strength. If we call our forefathers as freedom fighters, we have to call you as our freedom savers. Thank you so much. Thank you for protecting us, saving us, and thank you for performing your duty. Thank you for keeping up the structure of our constitution. It was not but for a strong political system and the politicians in it, it wouldn't have been survived for 75 years. I once again welcome you all on behalf of Sansad Ratna Awards Committee for this fabulous 12th edition. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyadashni Rahul. The Sansad Ratna Awards was an initiative that stemmed from the vision of the late President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It was Dr. Kalam's vision to recognize the work of elected parliamentarians for their performance in the House. Mr. K. Srinivasan, the founder of Prime Point Foundation, believed in this vision and constituted the genesis of this awards, now 13 years to date. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Srinivasan for his introductory remarks.
Good morning, Honorable Chief Election Commissioner of India, Honorable Minister, Honorable awardees, Honorable Members of Parliament, invitees, media friends. It gives me a great pleasure to talk about the 13 years of journey of our Sansad Ratna Awards. We, the people of India, that's how our Indian Constitution starts. Whether we, the people of India, have got any role in the democracy, yes, we have the role. We, the people of India, are electing the legislatures and parliamentarians. At the same time, we forget how to review their performance. That's how the seeds were sown. In 2009, at the end of 14th Lok Sabha, then Honorable Speaker Somnath Chatterjee was expressing concern over the functioning of the Parliament and disruptions during his valedictory address. At the time, the media was making a lot of noise about the functioning of parliamentarians. The image of parliamentarians were very much at the low before the 15th Lok Sabha started. At the time, I was very close with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was my mentor also. He called me and said, why not, if we think of, out of 750 people, there may be a lot of good people are there. Why not we try to identify and celebrate their performance? That's how it started. We are at this suggestion. We are running a e-magazine presence also for the past 16 years. We did not have a time to celebrate, so we carried some of the articles about the performing parliamentarians like Anandarao Vadisil of Maharashtra, Karvendan of Tamil Nadu, and a few others we carried. And Dr. Abdul Kalam also gave his interview in the same edition. In 2010, when the 15th Lok Sabha was started, he suggested, why not you identify at the end of first year the performing parliamentarians, celebrate them in the presence of a civil society among the eminent people. And the first member to be celebrated was Mr. Hansraj Ahirji. He was in the Chandrapur. He was a parliamentarian at Chandrapur. He himself got surprised that how we were able to. And PRS India, we always take the data from the PRS India, Lok Sabha Secretariat and Rajya Sabha Secretariat over a period of time. Even IIT has joined us as a partner. Raj Bhavan, we conducted 10th edition at Raj Bhavan. 11th edition last year, we conducted a Constitution Club. 12th edition, we are here. So with the great support of all our parliamentarians, even our jury committee members, we have a eminent jury committee members of parliamentarians and civil society. Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal is the chairman, and Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, former Chief Election Commissioner of India, is the co-chairperson. Mr. N.K. Premachandran, Mr. Srirang Appabarne, all are outstanding parliamentarians and received the award, Sansad Ratna awards earlier. And then even former Joint Secretary of Lok Sabha, Srinivasa, who is also in the jury committee. We have a professional setup and parliamentarians and professionals. And even there are subcommittees to analyze the performance. And it is a very rigorous and it is a transparent process. And we have been giving the awards. Till this year, we are giving 92 awards. Next year, probably we'll hit the century. Some of them are receiving 4 times, 5 times. Even Srirang Appabarne has received 5 times also. This is how it happens. Now, we have been over a period of time, we have been evaluating a lot of things. We introduced Rajya Sabha. We introduced committees for the award. This time, 4 committees are doing a marvelous job, but nobody recognizes them. So we have invited the committees also. All the committee chairmen have come here, and really we are proud of them. And even from this year, we have introduced for veteran leaders. We have introduced Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Lifetime Achievement Award, and Dr. Veerappa Moily, a legendary political leader. He is one of the respected leaders of India across all parties. Even his political advisories will respect him. And Dr. H.V. Hande from Chennai, and both are being selected. And with this, and every year, I give 2 messages. I request 2 appeals to the August gathering and to honorable members. This time, I am making 2 appeals. One is about the question hour and 0 hour. Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal knows that for the past 5-6 years, I am repeating the same thing in everything. Question hour and 0 hour belongs to us. We the people, common man. This is the time where we, the members of parliament, can raise the issues relating to the common man. And unfortunately, sometimes the adjournment motions are given to cancel the question hour or 0 hour. And we appeal to you, please avoid giving adjournment motion. On behalf of common man, I am appealing to you. You take up any other methods for giving your protest. And even I would suggest that please take up with the speaker and with the government for extending the question hour to 2 hours. Instead of 1 hour, hardly 6 questions, maximum 7 questions are being answered. We need at least 15-20 questions need to be answered orally. That is one thing. Another is hardly is working. And even the committee's attendance also is becoming poor nowadays. And disruption also takes a lot of time. So, and this will also create, many of the bills are not being discussed. Even CJI also has made a mention about this last year. And so that I would also appeal to honorable members of parliament and to honorable parliamentary affairs minister, whether you can explore the extension of even 60 days can be made 120 days. Even in many of the democratic countries, it is more than 100 days. We can think of, because it's a vibrant and solid democracy, we will take it to the next level and look forward to meet you again and again in the 13th award function. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
To recognize the honorable members of parliament. And it wouldn't be possible without the trust, faith, goodwill and blessings of our distinguished dignitaries. I request Mr. Rajiv Baga, the head of Central Government Affairs of IndusInd Bank, to welcome our chief guest, Honorable Shri Sushil Chandra, the Chief Election Commissioner of India. Sir, thank you for gracing us this morning. I request Mr. Srinivas Gopal, the Secretary of the Sansad Ratna Awards, to felicitate our Honorable Minister of Parliament, Shri N.K. Premachandran. Mr. Premachandran is also a jury committee member of the Sansad Ratna Awards. I request Mr. P.T.T. Rajan, the publisher of Kale Mahal magazine, to felicitate Honorable Member of Parliament, Shri Srirang Appabarane. Mr. Barne is also a jury committee member of the Sansad Ratna Awards. I request Mr. Nitin Patel, the Director of Reliance Softtech Limited, to welcome Honorable Dr. Veerappa Moily, the former Chief Minister of Karnataka and the former Union Minister of India, and this year's recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. The 12th edition of the Sansad Ratna Awards has received recognition by our dignitaries. I invite Mr. Ravi Sendal Kumar, the Executive President of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, to read the messages.
Morning, everyone. The message from Sri Pinarayi Vijayan, Honorable Chief Minister, Government of Kerala. Quote, the Prime Point Foundation and the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee have been rendering immense service to the nation in this regard. By painstakingly researching and collating all data points pertaining to the same, may it also motivate their fellow parliamentarians to emerge as the best example of selfless public servants. My best wishes to the Sansad Ratna Awards Investiture Ceremony 2022. Unquote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi Sendal Kumar. I invite the Honorable Shri Sushil Chandra, the Chief Election Commissioner of India, to give his address.
Distinguished guests and dignitaries, Honorable Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Honorable MOS for Parliamentary Affairs and Chairman of the Jury Committee of Sansad Ratna Awards, all Sansad Ratna Award winners, winners of Sansad Vishisht Ratna and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award for Life Achievement, Mr. Veerappa Moily, Honorable Members of Parliament present today, Shri K. Srinivasan, Founder Chairman, Prime Point Foundation, Ms. Priyadashni Rahul and his team, colleagues and friends. I was going through the literature given to me by Prime Point Srinivasanji and his team when they came over to invite me to Sansad Ratna Awards 2022. These awards were inspired by legendary Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and his belief that parliamentarians could help realize the vision of transforming India. I'm quoting Dr. Kalam from a speech he delivered on July 24, 2009 at Institute of Parliamentary Affairs, Thiruvananthapuram. Quote, time has come for us to evolve the parliamentary system based on our past experiences and the present aspiration of our youth. In every action of parliament, members over 550 million youth who are below 25 years of age would see in you the great leaders who can be their role models. We owe it to the voters to fulfill their expectations. It is the role model which the youth see in all of you. I must compliment Prime Point Foundation for institutionalizing the Sansad Ratna Awards. I congratulate all the distinguished parliamentarians who are recipients of Sansad Ratna Awards today. My greetings to all the distinguished guests at this prestigious event. Parliament may be best recognition that they would get, but it is recognition that comes only after 5 years and contingent on several other factors. Radical legislation in every sphere of life, whether it is abolition of untouchability, agrarian reforms, protecting the girl child, right to education, environment protection, civil liberties, personal laws, no sphere of life has remained untouched from continuous reforms. In this reference, I shall also quote Dr. Ambedkar. A quote, what does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life. These principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items. Separate items in a trinity. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to diverse one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Dr. Ambedkar, unquote. I would like to mention about the good legislature. Legislature is a veritable instrument and institution for national development. It is the bulwark of any nation. The parliament of the world's largest democracy should be a model for the whole world and should adopt the best practices evolved in other countries as well. So the next question to ask is, what do we want the legislature? We all would agree that legislatures will have to reinvent themselves in these times of dramatic changes. They will be heavily influenced by certain factors over which they have little control. That is technology, for instance, or social media or public health emergencies. The classical functions of a good legislature, in my understanding, are A, the inclusive legislature. This is the most important thing. A good legislature is truly and meaningfully representative. It must include diverse voices, especially of those who were marginalized earlier. This implies greater presence and participation of women in the parliament. As per data compiled by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, for the first time in 2021, the global average for women in parliament just exceeded 25%. The progress is painstakingly slow, and at this rate, it will take almost more than 50 years to achieve gender parity. In India, the first Lok Sabha had only 15 women MPs. The 17th Lok Sabha has 78 women MPs. But the progress is still slow. An enhanced representation of women in parliament can be achieved by the collective efforts of all of you who are present here. If you just see, in local bodies, the Constitution guarantees 1/3 the reservation for women. It is heartening to note that so many grassroots women leaders have demonstrated their leadership and brought about visible change in their communities. So we will have to have a very inclusive parliament. We cannot be having any differentiation, and a parliament is the true parliament will have to be very, very inclusive. Point number 2 is the role of parliament to engage and be responsive. The legislature has to be responsive to what citizens want, their expectations and aspirations. As parliamentarians representing a large population which has varying needs and demands, it is important for you to find ways and means to stay connected with the people. That is very important, that certain MPs, just go after 5 years to meet their constituencies. Some are very regular to meet them, because this I have seen during my election scenario, that many persons have said that when we banned the rallies, then certain voters said, so the connection with the people is the most important thing, and we will have to stay connected with the people. You have a significant role to play in resolving conflicts, building consensus, and achieve best results. Citizens must get a sense that they are participating in the unfolding democracy, and it is up to you to give them that sense. C, while heated arguments, debates, and speeches are a barometer of a robust parliament, but frequent disruptions, walkout, hunger strikes are not. Time lost due to disruptions has seen a dramatic increase over the years, with some sessions being a complete washout. This does not augur well for the robust parliamentary democracy as ours. Participation in the parliament, raising matters of critical importance by virtue of question hour and 0 hour are established parliamentary practices. And this is the only way the people can get their voices heard and also make the government accountable, which is the basic role of any parliament. The precious opportunity should not be wasted by theatrics or slogan shouting or rushing to the well or even go out of the parliament. Dadabhai Naoroji, the first Indian member of British Parliament, put it very succinctly, quote, "It is in the parliament that our chief battle has to be fought, not the outside." I'll also mention about the role of standing committees. Standing committees form an integral part of Parliament's role in debate, They discuss laws and policies by analyzing them in depth. Additionally, standing committees provide a platform for MPs to track government expenditure, scrutinize policies and bills, and seek expert advice. Due to the untelevised nature of committee meetings, they are also used as a forum for consensus building among parties for controversial issues or contentious pieces of legislation. Having worked in government for more than 40 years, I have had multiple opportunities members of the various standing committees. And I think I must have gone maximum number of time in my life before the committee headed by Dr. Veerappa Moili. Members bring a wealth of experiences and inputs from the ground to these committees. Several laws which are obsolete are repealed, while others amended suitably by incorporating the suggestions of the standing committee. However, dwindling attendance in these committees is a cause of concern, and MPs must attend these committee meetings in a spirited and non-partisan manner. I am very glad that Sansad Ratna Awards have a special category for the committee, as they do a lot of hard work, which is silent and painstaking and largely goes unnoticed. Friends, the democracy is premised on the people of the country and all the institutions, whether it is the parliament or the executive or the ECI. The focus is on the people, the common man, their dreams, aspirations, and expectations. It is only through regular elections, which are free, fair, representative parliament. It is ECI's constant endeavor that voters must be well informed so that the best candidates are chosen for the parliament or assembly who can represent them and work for them. ECI gives complete information about the candidates, their educational background, assets, liabilities, and criminal antecedents, if any. And the same is published on the website for the awareness of the voters, so that each and every voter can be well informed and exercise the choice with full information about the candidate. I'll just give an idea of the elections also. Just to give an idea of the long journey which we have traveled together with our voters on the path of democracy. When the first general election was conducted in 1951, there were only 17.3 voters. And the percentage of voting turnout was only 45.6%. And when the last Lok Sabha elections were held in 2019, the voters were something around 91 crore. The turnout was around 67%. And the best thing, that the voter turnout of women was more than the man in the 17th Lok Sabha elections. As on today, there are more than 95.3 crore voters in this country, out of which 49 crore are male voters and 46 are female voters. And I'm sure with this growth of voters, by the time the next general elections will be held, we'll be crossing 1 billion voters in this country. Our endeavor has always been very participative, inclusive, and no person should be left behind. And in this endeavor, we have made our voters from the senior citizens above 80 plus. We have given heavy emphasis to them. The person with disabilities, which we forget. The Election Commission of India did extraordinary efforts in mapping the person with disability. And today, in our rolls, there are 81.3 lakh voters who are persons with disabilities. For women, for inclusion of women, we have done a lot of work as to how they should be included into the electoral rolls. There was a big challenge before the commission. But our officers, our BLOs have taken special pains to go to villages, to meet the women folks, to explain in their own languages as to how they can become voter. And in these elections, which we held very recently, I'm happy to say that in UP alone, the gender ratio was increased by 29 points, which is a very, very high percentage, followed by various other states also, 24 points, 25 points. We wanted that each and every woman, each and every senior citizen, each and every person with disability should be absolutely inclusive in the voters list. Until and unless each and every one is a part of voting process, how can we make a strengthen a democracy as such. For women, we put even 1900 exclusive women polling booths in the various parts during these particular elections, which were totally managed by the women officers and women security personnel, which gives a sense of confidence to them and other women who can come very freely. And this has brought lot of good results to us also. In these 5 elections, which we had very recently, the voter percentage of female in 4 states was more than the men, whether it was UP, whether it was Manipur, whether it was Goa, or Uttarakhand. The percentage of voter was much higher of women than the men, and they have shown grit that they can come forward to cast their votes. So the situation has totally changed from the first elections, and our elections have been very, very inclusive, participative, and each and every society, each and every person has been free to cast their vote. So that has been our consistent efforts. Well, I always thought there are only 2 touch points with the Election Commission of a general man. That is, when the registration takes place, and second, when he comes to cast the vote at the polling booth. So for registration part, we have visited each and every house. And I will just narrate that when our persons went to enroll the ladies in the houses, then they said that my daughters are married. Why should she become a voter? When she will be married, she will go to her sasural, only then the vote will be made. So please don't make her voter here. So we had to convince them that we will transfer her vote to her sasural also, but please ask her to be enrolled as a voter, and we emphasize that the registration should be done. And that is why so many new things have come in our consideration as to how we should increase the voters' participation, especially the person with disabilities. If a person is having a disability, even the family members, they don't want that should go out for the voting. We provided them wheelchairs, we provided them free conveyance facilities, we provided them volunteers, we provided them good, safe environment at the booth. Only then we could convince them that we will take your person, we will send at her home, but please give them chance to vote. They should not be deprived of the persons. And to my surprise, when we took a feedback, certain persons were weeping at the polling booth. That is the first time in our life that we have come to booth and this opportunity has been given to us to cast the vote. So that was our purpose, that the election should be absolutely in a good atmosphere. And our booth, I think you must have seen in TV, that many of our booths were fully decorated. They were in a mood to receive the persons. They were always, earlier the booths were very drab. So my point was always that when he comes to cast the vote, he should feel a very festive type of atmosphere. And we provided absolutely festive atmosphere with the result. So many things were taken into consideration. And with the result, I find that the voter turnout was also very good into all these elections. We have conducted around 11 elections during this pandemic. Many countries postponed their elections because of pandemic. But Election Commission of India said, no, we will provide all safety measures. We will take all safety protocols, but elections will be held. We do not want that any assembly, any parliament position should remain unrepresented by the people. For us, the mention which you have mentioned is most important than anybody else before the election commission. I'll just give you in the percentages that we have got in these 11 elections which we held during the pandemic, because especially this particular pandemic was a big challenge. And when we knew that the pandemic has suddenly come, third wave is coming. Though it was never decided, we thought that second wave is over, we can have our elections third wave very easily. But God demanded other way around, that you will have to be on your toes. So we thought that what should we do about it? We consulted all political parties. All political parties said we want elections. We should have elections across the lines, across the party line. So when there are extraordinary circumstances, the extraordinary solution will have to come. And initially, we banned all the rallies. It was never done earlier. We thought that when there is a pandemic, we'll go ahead for the elections. We banned the rallies, but we put a very graded system of examination. We were absolutely talking every week with the health secretaries, with the chief secretaries. As soon as the adopted by each and every one, they will find very hardly any election petitions on that particular ground. So we are providing one of the best election system in the world, and that is possible only because of your participation, the public participation and public enthusiasm into that. We also used this time some the technology of empowering the public. Like we use the C-Vigil. This is a very important app, which I'll just mention, which empowers the public to report any malfunctioning in the electoral process to the commission. And it is our guarantee that within 100 minutes, we will reach to the spot, the corrective steps will be taken. I'm very happy to say that 47,000 complaints were received in these 5 elections on C-Vigil, and out of which 40,000 were found correct, and the commission took immediate steps on that. So ultimately, it is the public participation in the process, is the empowerment of the public, empowerment of the common man, empowerment of a ground man who can simply say that something wrong is being there. Why are they putting poster on my wall? Why the freebies are being distributed? This is the setup. Simply they upload and our team reaches in 100 minutes. There's no need to take the name also. This has been a very important tool, so which I am just sharing that we could empower the public to this area. And simply I also put an app of a Know Your Candidate. This was an app. All the details of a candidate is there on that app. Each and everybody can see what is the qualification, what is the criminal antecedent, what is the assets and liability, and you can decide the way you like to decide to cast your vote. This year, the government has accepted the demand of the Election Commission, and 2 important reforms were done this year, which was pending for last several years. First was that a younger voter, the youngster, can put himself or herself registered 4 times in a year, which was there only once in a time. Because earlier, the registration could be taken place only on the 1st of January, on which you are completing 18 years. If you are born on 2nd January, you will have to wait for 1 year to be enrolled as a voter. But this time, we have got this act passed, and now in 4 opportunities, a person can enroll as a registered, which will definitely improve the participation of youngsters and the young voters so that they can be a part of the democracy at a much earlier age. And second was the connection of the Aadhaar with the electoral roll, so that we can rectify and purify the electoral rolls, and no person should have a duplicate names into these particular rolls. These were pending for several years, but this time this could be got through, and so that our all electoral process can be strong. Friends, the pace at which the world is changing and the dynamic rising aspiration of the Indian people places a heavy responsibility upon all of us. Let us work towards making the life of every person better, more prosperous, and more meaningful. Let us strengthen and deepen democracy by all means at our command. I quote here the words of father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Quote, democracy must in essence mean the art and science of mobilizing the entire physical, economical, and spiritual resources of all various sections of the people in the service of the common good of all. Unquote. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. All right, we will move on to the much-awaited portion of our program, the awards function. The Sansad Ratna Award winners are selected based on a transparent system that evaluates the performance of the members. They are nominated for the award by an eminent jury committee chaired by Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, who is a Sansad Maharatna awardee of the 15th Lok Sabha, and co-chaired by Shri T.S. Krishnamurthy, the former Chief Election Commissioner of India. These awards are presented on behalf of the civil society. Before commencing our ceremony, I would like to invite Honorable Shri Hansraj Ahir, the former Minister of State of Home Affairs and patron of our Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, to join us on stage. He is also the Sansad Maharatna awardee of the 15th Lok Sabha and former jury committee member. I also invite Honorable Chief Election Commissioner of India and Honorable Minister to present the awards to the awardees. I finally invite Mrs. Shraddha Pandey for the official commencement of our award distributions and citation.
धन्यवाद दीप्ति। संसद रत्न सम्मान समारोह आरंभ करने से पहले मैं बता दूं, ये सम्मान 3 श्रेणियों में दिया जाएगा। पहला, फर्स्ट टाइम मोस्ट स्टीम अवार्ड डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड 2022। दूसरा, फर्स्ट टाइम संसद विशिष्ट रत्न सम्मान 2022। तीसरा, 2021-22 में लोकसभा तथा राज्यसभा में इंडिविजुअल फॉर द आउटस्टैंडिंग परफॉर्मेंस उत्कृष्ट प्रदर्शन के लिए संसद रत्न सम्मान तथा डिपार्टमेंटली रिलेटेड आउटस्टैंडिंग कमेटी विभागीय स्थायी समिति के लिए संसद रत्न सम्मान। ये सभी सम्मान संसद रत्न सम्मान कमेटी तथा प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन सिविल सोसाइटी के सामूहिक प्रयास द्वारा दिया जा रहा है। सबसे पहले द मोस्ट स्टीम्ड अवार्ड डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड 2022। ये सम्मान पहली बार दिया जा रहा है। यह प्रतिष्ठित सम्मान सांसदों का सम्मान करने वाले तथा हमारी लोकतांत्रिक प्रणाली में विश्वास रखने वाले डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम को समर्पित है। डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड 2022 दिया जा रहा है फॉर्मर हेल्थ मिनिस्टर ऑफ तमिलनाडु एंड फॉर्मर लेजिस्लेचर डॉक्टर HV हांडे जी को। आपने एक छात्र के रूप में भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन के अपने राजनीतिक जीवन का आरंभ किया, फिर स्वतंत्र पार्टी में शामिल हुए, राजा जी द्वारा प्रशिक्षण प्राप्त किया, बाद में AIADMK में शामिल हो गए और MGRM कैबिनेट में स्वास्थ्य मंत्री बने। आपने डॉक्टर अंबेडकर तथा संविधान जैसे विषयों के अतिरिक्त अनेकों पुस्तकें लिखी है। आप 95 वर्ष के हैं, अतः इस सम्मान हेतु आप आ नहीं सके। मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑफ संसद रत्न अवार्ड कमेटी श्री श्रीधर जी से, सर आप डॉक्टर HV हांडे जी की ओर से सम्मान स्वीकार कीजिए। अब डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट 2020 के लिए मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी फॉर्मर चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ कर्नाटका एंड यूनियन मिनिस्टर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया डॉक्टर M वीरप्पा मोइली जी को। सर कृपया आप मंच पर इस सम्मान हेतु आएँ। आप अपने कार्यकाल में कर सुधार तथा प्रशासनिक सुधार हेतु अपनी विशेष शैली तथा कार्य के लिए जाने जाते हैं। आपने अंग्रेजी तथा कन्नड़ सहित कई किताबें लिखी हैं। Heartiest congratulations, sir. Now it's a time for the संसद विशिष्ट रत्न सम्मान। यह सम्मान प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक व अध्यक्ष की तरफ से पहली बार दिया जा रहा है। यह सम्मान उन एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी कार्य करने वाले सांसदों को दिया जा रहा है जिन्होंने संसद महारत्न सम्मान प्राप्त करने के बाद या अवार्ड कमेटी के जूरी सदस्य होने के बाद भी अपनी निरंतर योग्यता साबित की है। इस सम्मान के लिए मैं सबसे पहले आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी कोलम केरला लोकसभा के RSP का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले माननीय सांसद श्री NK प्रेमचंद्रन जी को। सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान के हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान 17वीं लोकसभा के शीतकालीन सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक सभी क्षेत्रों में निरंतर श्रेष्ठ प्रदर्शन हेतु दिया जा रहा है। हार्टिएस्ट कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन सर। अब संसद विशिष्ट रत्न सम्मान के लिए मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी मावल महाराष्ट्र के शिवसेना का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले माननीय सांसद श्री श्रीरंग अप्पा बारने जी को माननीय श्री विद्युत बरन महतो जी से सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको यह सम्मान 17वीं लोकसभा के शीतकालीन सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चंस इन द जनरल कैटेगरी में ओवरऑल परफॉर्मेंस हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई सर। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड के लोकसभा सदस्य इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस के प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले माननीय श्री कुलदीप राय शर्मा जी से सर कृपया आप मंच पर आएं। आपको यह सम्मान 17वीं लोकसभा के शीतकालीन सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चंस इन द फर्स्ट टाइम एमपी कैटेगरी में आउटस्टैंडिंग परफॉर्मेंस हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई सर। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी नंदरबार महाराष्ट्र की लोकसभा सदस्य भारतीय जनता पार्टी का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाली माननीय डॉक्टर हीना विजय कुमार गावित जी से मैम कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान 17वीं लोकसभा के शीतकालीन सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चन इन द विमेंस कैटेगरी में आउटस्टैंडिंग परफॉर्मेंस हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई सर। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी मंदसौर मध्य प्रदेश के लोकसभा सदस्य बीजेपी का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले माननीय श्री सुधीर गुप्ता जी से सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान 17वीं लोकसभा के शीतकालीन सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चंस इन द क्वेश्चन कैटेगरी हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई सर। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी उड़ीसा से राज्यसभा के सदस्य बीजेडी का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले माननीय डॉक्टर अमर पटनायक जी से सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चन इन द राज्यसभा कैटेगरी हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई सर। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी छत्तीसगढ़ राज्यसभा की सदस्य एनसीपी महाराष्ट्र का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाली माननीय डॉक्टर फौजिया तहसीन अहमद खान जी से मैम कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान सत्र 2021 के आरंभ से अंत तक आपके अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स तथा क्वेश्चंस इन द राज्यसभा कैटेगरी हेतु दिया जा रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई मैम। मैं अपने का सुधार करती हूँ, मैंने गलत बोल दिया था। मैम महाराष्ट्र से की प्रतिनिधि हैं, भूल सुधार के लिए माफ़ी। हार्टिएस्ट कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन मैम। अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी केरल से राज्यसभा के सदस्य सीपीआईएम का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले फॉर्मर राज्यसभा मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट माननीय श्री के रागेश जी से सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। आपको ये सम्मान 2015 से 21 के दौरान आपके द्वारा अधिकतम डिबेट्स, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल्स और क्वेश्चन इन द राज्यसभा कैटेगरी हेतु दिया जा रहा है। हार्टिएस्ट कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन सर। नाउ संसद रत्न सम्मान फॉर स्टैंडिंग कमेटी। मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी चेयरमैन ऑफ स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन एग्रीकल्चर माननीय श्री गड्डी गौडार सर से कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। द जूरी कमेटी ऑफ एमिनेंट पार्लियामेंटेरियन एंड सिविल सोसाइटी रिकॉग्नाइज द आउटस्टैंडिंग क्यूमुलेटिव परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंटली रिलेटेड स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन एग्रीकल्चर, animal husbandry and food processing for the subject handle, report presented and sitting held during the 17th Lok Sabha from the first sitting to the end of the winter session 2020-21. Heartiest congratulations, sir. अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी चेयरमैन ऑफ स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन फिनेंस माननीय श्री जयंत सिन्हा जी से, सर कृपया आप संसद रत्न सम्मान हेतु मंच पर आएं। द जूरी कमेटी ऑफ एमिनेंट पार्लियामेंटेरियन एंड सिविल सोसाइटी रिकॉग्नाइज द आउटस्टैंडिंग क्यूमुलेटिव परफॉर्मेंस ऑन द डिपार्टमेंटली रिलेटेड स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन फिनेंस for the subject handle, report presented and sitting held during the 17th Lok Sabha from the first standing to the end of the winter session 2020-21. Now I invite all the members of this committee, please join on the stage. अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी माननीय सांसद श्री गणेश सिंह जी से, श्री नरेश बंसल जी, श्री नीरज डांगी, श्री एल करीम जी, मेंबर ऑफ द स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन लेबर, कृपया आप सभी लोग मंच पर आएं। द जूरी कमेटी ऑफ एमिनेंट पार्लियामेंटेरियन एंड सिविल सोसाइटी रिकॉग्नाइज द आउटस्टैंडिंग क्यूमुलेटिव परफॉर्मेंस ऑन द डिपार्टमेंटली रिलेटेड स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन लेबर, टेक्सटाइल and skill development for the subject handle, report presented and sitting held during the 17th Lok Sabha from the first sitting to the end of the winter session 2020-21. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Now I request, please clap for them. Everyone needs encouragement. अब मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी चेयरमैन ऑफ स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन एजुकेशन अलॉन्ग विथ ऑल द कमेटी मेंबर्स डॉक्टर विनय पी सहस्त्रबुद्धे सर, प्लीज़ आप अपने अन्य सदस्यों के साथ कमेटी मेंबर्स के साथ मंच पर आएं। The Jury Committee of Eminent Parliamentarian and the Civil Society recognize the outstanding cumulative performance of the departmentally related Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports for the subject handle, report presented and sitting held during the 17th Lok Sabha from the first sitting to the end of the winter session 2020-21. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Over to Deepti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Pandey. I'd like to invite all the individual awardees to please join us on the stage for a group photograph. Right after the individual photographs, we will be moving into the committee group photographs. Honorable awardees, we request you to please bring your citations along. Request you to please bring your citations along. Thank you. I request the honorable committee members to please have their citations ready. Once this photograph is done, we will do the committee members' photograph. I invite our honorable committee members and committee chairman to please join us on the stage for a group photograph.
Have to come from the chair. Yes, from the civil society, I will come. I will discuss this. I will come. Thank you. Thank you. धन्यवाद जी, बधाई हो आपको भी। नमस्कार।
Requesting all committee members to please bring their citations along for this group photograph. Requesting the chairman and committee members to please bring your citations over to the stage for a group photograph. This year's theme for the Sansad Ratna Awards is Women's Empowerment. The Prime Point Foundation is proud to release an ebook titled Where Will and Way Meet, a compilation of success stories of 13 women achievers in different positions of leadership. The book is compiled by Priyadarshini Rahul, the president of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee. The ebook is available for download on sansadratna.in. I request our Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal to release this book and to share the first copy with Honorable Member of Parliament Srimati Hina Gaivat and Honorable Chief Election Commissioner Shri Sushil Chandra. Thank you very much. Honorable guests, please have a seat. I'd like to invite Honorable Member of Parliament and Jury Committee member Mr. N.K. Premachandran to briefly share his views on this year's awards.
Distinguished guests on the dais, the awardees, and dear friends. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate and express our sincere thanks for and on behalf of the awardees as well as the jury committee members in organizing such a wonderful event so as to recognize the performing members in parliament that both houses of the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The history of this award, this 12th edition of Sansad Ratna Award, the history and the vision and the motivation, everything has already been narrated by Sri Srinivasan and his colleagues. As a member of parliament, to having limited experience with this organization, very well I can say that the selection of awards or the selection of awardees are purely based on the merits. It is on the basis of the statistical data compiled by the Lok Sabha Secretariat and Rajya Sabha Secretariat, and also based on the PRS data. The number of debates, the number of questions, the number of interventions, and the performance in the parliament, all these aspects are purely based on the statistical data by which the awardees are being selected. So therefore, the members of the jury do not have any significant role in selecting the awardees because it is based on the data compiled by or recorded by the Lok Sabha Secretariat, Rajya Sabha Secretariat, and also from other information from the PRS like agencies. And it is absolutely independent, and there is no other way or there is no other bias. Nothing is there because Arjun Singh Meghwalji, the Honorable Parliamentary Affairs Minister, he was also an awardee in the 15th Lok Sabha and a good parliamentarian. He is holding the chairman of this jury committee, and myself and Abanaji, we are also the members and the co-elections. The former election commission chairman, Sri Krishnamurthy, is the co-chairman of the committee, and the professionals and experts of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, retired personnels are also assisting us. So it is absolutely an independent, meritorious, fully based on merits, these awardees are being selected, and it is a very good thing by which the performance of the standing committees are also recognized. And we have seen the standing committees which have performed well during the last time, because standing committee system in the parliamentary democracy is having a very significant role. Unfortunately, most of the committees are not performing according to their, according to the need of the country. But nowadays, when we have installed this award also, the parliamentary standing committees are also getting recognized for the contributions which they have done during the last years. And with these words, once again, on behalf of the awardees, and I am also the member of the jury committee, I told to them, this is the third time I am getting it. And I said to the chairman as well as others, it is not proper on our part to have the award from the jury members. So they avoided us, and for the continuous performance in the parliament in the 17th Lok Sabha, myself and Abanaji was also selected, for which also I am thankful. And once again, on behalf of all, because it is a wonderful service being rendered by Prime Point Foundation, stationed in Chennai, and the vision of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, recognizing the performing members of the parliament, recognizing them will be giving a motivation to them, for which they are doing a very good service, for which once again I express our sincere thanks for and on behalf of all of us. Let it continue. And nowadays you see so many other organizations have started this recognizing the members of parliament. Even the leading newspapers, they have started in recognizing the members who are performing in the parliament. It is a motivation which may comes from Sansad Ratna by Prime Point Foundation. With these words, I once again express our sincere thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and an esteemed congratulations to all our winners this morning. I invite Honorable Dr. Veerappa Moily, the former Chief Minister of Karnataka and the former Union Minister of India, this year's recipient of the APJ Abdul Kalam Lifetime Achievement Award, for his acceptance speech on behalf of all the 2022 Sansad Ratna awardees. Over to you, sir.
my esteemed friend, Sri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Honorable Minister, and also Chairman of the jury, Sri Sushil Chandra, Chief Election Commissioner of India, Sri Prime Point Srinivasan was inspired by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji to constitute this committee and also give awards for the best performing parliamentarians. Sri Barneji, Sri N.K. Premachandran ji, Srimati Priyadarshini Rahul ji, all the honorable members of the parliament who got this prestigious, unique award, members of the press, all the parliament members, friends. Elections in India are the festival of democracy. Sri Sushil Chandra ji has given illuminating lecture on this, how it has come up to age, how the elections are held, and it's a real exciting moment for every one of us to participate in the elections, whether as candidates or otherwise. Among the four pillars of an ideal democratic structure, the legislature has the most important position. It is the expression of the will of the people, and the executive is answerable to perform it. This demands that the requirement of ethical standards for the executive must be preceded by an equally emphatic requirement of ethical standards of legislators. Constitution makers in India were wary of the caution in the words, I quote, when the legislative and executive powers are united in the same person or body, there cannot be liberty. Where the power of judging joined with the legislature, the life and liberty of the subject would be exposed to arbitrary control. And further, I quote, where the power of judging ignored, joined the executive power, the judge might behave with all the violence of an oppressor. That is why it's popularly known that vigilance is the price of democracy. It all covers all the organs of the Constitution. Thus, in order to ensure that the basic structure of the Constitution is not eroded, that the fundamental rights are not abridged, that the rule of law always prevails, and that the Constitution remain supreme lex. The fundamental and the paramount law of the land, the concept of judicial review, has been planted as the instrumentality, and the Constitution has been declared to be the touchstone of validity of all acts of each organ. Further, in order to guarantee that the rule of law would inure to and for everyone, and the promises made by the Constitution would not remain mere paper promises, the Constitution makers made provisions for independence of the judiciary. Ethics in politics is quite important. Even when there are no ethics committee in the parliament, during Jawaharlal Nehru's time, there was one Mudgal, a parliamentarian, who did only this, nowadays we can call it an insignificant job. He recommended some favors to somebody, that's all. Whether it was acted upon or it was motivated by some other extraneous consideration, still it is not known. But no less than a Prime Minister of this country, moved a resolution in the Lok Sabha to disqualify that Mr. Mudgal for having given a recommendation letter. Just imagine, only recommendation letter. I think when we stretch that ethics, as on today, I think disastrous effects can take place in disqualifying the members, both in the state legislatures and also the parliament. Our election system is explained by Sushil Chandraji. From the selection of candidates to the manner in which funds are raised and spent in election campaigns are in dire need of the significant changes. When I was law minister, we conducted 6 national seminars in various cities, came out with many changes that was participated by all the election commissioners of that time. They came along with us. I think many of those recommendations, I suggest Meghwalji and also Sushil Chandraji to look into it. I will send a copy of that proceedings to you so that you can act upon it. Significant efforts have been made over the last 2 decades to bring about many changes. The many governments after governments, they have brought about many changes. And it is narrated by Sushil Chandra. I don't want to really dwell upon it over again. 91st Amendment to the Constitution was enacted in the year 2003 to tighten the anti-defection provision of the 10th schedule enacted earlier in 1985. Now, looking back, the anti-defection law has been watered down both by the laches and also by the judiciary. The incumbent able to contest for at least at another term. There should be deterrents. The criminalization of our political system has been observed almost unanimously by all committees on politics and electoral system. It is widely believed that the cost of fighting elections has climbed far above the legal spending limits. This has resulted in lack of transparency, widespread corruption, and the persuasiveness of so-called black money. In fact, intimidation of the voters and many other things, I don't want to deal with that. You all know we are conscious of it. A major concern associated with the high cost of elections is that it prevents parties and candidates with modest financial resources from being competitive in elections. Rich people are now entering the legislature and parliament. Of course, there is no provision. But what happens to the real democracy? I think recently, the Association of Democratic Reforms, ADR, has come out with a data-based report analyzing and supporting the above facts. Among 5 assembly elections held recently, 598 successful legislators out of 750 are officially declared to be croropatis. That constitute 87%. Almost all legislators who are re-elected declared their assets have increased manifold, second time who are elected. This appears to be universal phenomenon in almost all assembly elections and also Lok Sabha. The scenario is no different in the parliament. Report, The Ethics in Governance of the Second Administrative Reform Commission, headed by me as chairman, also recommended that system of partial state funding should be introduced to reduce the scope of illegitimate and unnecessary funding of expenditure so that you can have a real good, effective regulations. Some of the other recommendations made by committees on politics and electoral reforms have also been enumerated in that Second Administrative Reform Commission. Section 8 of the Representation of the People's Act 1951 needs to be amended to disqualify all persons facing charges related to grave and heinous offences and also corruption. The Constitution should be amended to ensure that if one or more parties in a coalition with a common program mandated by the electorate, either explicitly
before elections or implicitly while forming the government, realign midstream with one or more parties outside the coalition, then members of the party or parties shall have to seek fresh mandate from the electorate. Special election tribunals have also been suggested because election petitions in the high courts takes a lot of time. Maybe it is such petitions are really frustrated. Election Commission has also recommended number of them, and some of them I am very happy to learn from Sushil Chandraji that many of them have been recommended. I think time has come for the nation to come out with radical legislations on many of the recommendations made by Election Commission of India, ARC, and many other, the recommendations which have come because of the consensus among all the politicians. The baseness and depravity in governance and public life has been a cause of unease even in advanced societies at different times in their history. In a quote that has been, which is relevant even today, attributed to Abraham Lincoln, it has been said, I quote, "I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerved me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my countrymen." Maybe it applies universally, all the country. An era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until the wealth is aggravated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed. I think we are happy that ours is the largest democracy in the world and the most successful democracy in the world, but we should be aware of some of these dangers which are hanging and shadowing any democracy in the country. In recent years, Parliament and the parliamentary norms have been undermined by the rise of adversarial politics, pursuing the opposition as an adversary rather than a partner in the lawmaking process. But this doesn't happen in the committee system. Very happy to say that I could pass all the reports, I think 83 number, unanimously. This can happen, when it can happen in the committee system, why not in the parliament? I think we should work out some methodology by which, such consensus building is an important component in the success of a democracy. I think we need to apply all our mind to this. I can tell you it is time for members of parliament to go back to history and do some deep research on this. And Mr. Vajpayee was the opposition leader during Nehru's time. He used to cut short Nehru quite often during debates and discussions. Vajpayee even attacked Nehru by saying that he had a dual personality combining Churchill and Chamberlain. Nehru, instead of getting angry, complimented him for a persuasive speech. I think such healthy practices will have to pervade everywhere, not only in the committee system, but also in the parliament. There is a committee on ethics of the Lok Sabha. There is also a committee on ethics in the Rajya Sabha. They will have to be activized, and for which all the parties put together should encourage it. Mahatma Gandhi once said, I quote, "Corruption and hypocrisy ought to be inevitable products of democracy, as they undoubtedly are today." He said on that day. But even today, it is quite. These are the two, devils which will be bothering the democracy of this country. In the face of prevalent circumstances, our efforts at combating corruption suffer for three basic reasons. I don't want to quote everything. As a basic minimal code of conduct by the ministers or the members, a procedure that offers escape routes at every step of the way to the delinquent will have to be eliminated. Lack of will or initiative on the part of the authorities in catching the bull by horns. The Lokayukta system in the states is becoming very weak nowadays. In fact, the powers are back again, delivered to the police department. Lokayukta powers have been curtailed. Many of the states, including my state. And the Lokpal Act, which was passed with all the fanfare, all agitations, result of agitation, now, is not very much vocal and found its place. Judiciary requires greater accountability. Okay, all right. And this could be achieved only by changing the system of appointment by revising collegium system, also by way of enacting judicial accountability bill. These are all some of the things. And in fact, what is required today, as on today, is selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, and also honesty. This is and also the leadership at every level. And in fact, I would like to say that, before I conclude my speech, I would like to quote the address of H.M. Sirwai, eminent jurist, who addressed the Sir Chimanlal Settleward Lectures series in 1970. He observed, I quote, "The ultimate guarantee against abuse of power, legislature, judicial, and executive, lies in the political and legal safeguards against such abuse, in a vigilant public opinion and in the sense of justice in the people generally. If you want to reform, attitudinal reforms will have to be first brought about even in our private lives." I would conclude by the words of, he concludes that speech, Sirwai, in the words of Andre Betele, he said, "A constitution may indicate the direction which we are to move, but the social structure will decide how far we are able to move and of what pace." So I'm quite happy that Prime Foundation, with the inspiration of great visionary like Abdul Kalam, has instituted this institution, and it had encouraged some better standards for the legislators and asked the parliamentarians. And I particularly thank him. I must also thank the juries for having selected me for the Abdul Kalam's the lifetime award for this. And thank you very much, the juries and also Prime Foundation. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir. I invite the Honorable Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs and Culture, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, and the Chairman of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee to deliver the presidential address.
इतना 5 मिनट बोलना है अब तो अपना काफ़ी टाइम हो गया ना, क्या हुआ? 5-7 मिनट ही बोलना है ना. Sansad Ratna Awards, a very good program, and the chief guest of the program, Honorable Sushil Chandra ji, Chief Election Commissioner, Government of India, Sri M. Veerappa Mohali ji, former Minister, Sri N. K. Premchandran ji, Member of Parliament, Sri Rangappa Barne ji, Member of Parliament, and Sri Nivasan ji, the Chairman of the Prime Point Foundation, Hansraj Ahir ji, former Union Minister, Srimati Priyadarshini Rahul, Secretary Prime Point Foundation, and all the Member of Parliament who got the award today. Vidut वरण महतो फ्रॉम झारखंड, कुलदीप राज शर्मा फ्रॉम अंडमान निकोबार द्वीप समूह, डॉक्टर हीना गावित महाराष्ट्र, श्री सुधीर गुप्ता जी फ्रॉम मध्य प्रदेश, श्री अमर पटनायक जी फ्रॉम उड़ीसा, श्रीमती फौजिया ताशीन अहमद खान फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, श्री के रागेश फ्रॉम केरला, and excellent award for committees, Shri P.C. Gaddi Godar from Agriculture Committee, and Shri Jain Sinha from Finance Committee. These are the chairmen of the committee. And Shri Ganesh Singh on behalf of Bhartri Mehta from Labour Committee, and three more members from Labour Committee, Dr. Shri Ganesh Singh, Naresh Bansal ji, Neeraj Dangi ji, and Ella Aram Karim Saab. Then Education Committee Chairman Shri Vinay Sahastra Buddhe ji from Maharashtra, and N.K. Premchandra ji again for super performers, sustained performance, Sansad Vishisht Award, Ratna Awards. Shri Appa Bharne ji from Maharashtra, again for super performer, sustained performance, Sansad Vishisht Ratna Awards. Shri Veerappa Mohaili ji, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Awards, Lifetime Achievement, and Dr. H.V. Hande, and Sridhar got on behalf of Hande. All the other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. मुझे ज़्यादा नहीं बोलना है, मैं जस्ट आपको रिमाइंड करना चाहता हूँ, वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया, ये ज़्यादा चर्चा में कब आया? कैन यू टेल मी? वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया अन्ना हजारे के मोमेंट में ज़्यादा चर्चा में क्यों? देवड़ा जी, आपको तो जानकारी है कि नहीं है? आपके लोग भी, काफ़ी कमेटी के लोग आए हुए हैं, मैं इस मौके पे याद करूंगा वाइस चेयरमैन श्री भुवनेश देवड़ा जी, श्री एस मोहन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, श्री श्रीनिवासन प्रभु फॉर्मर जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी लोकसभा, एंड वाइस चेयरमैन प्रोफेसर सुदर्शन पद्मनाभन IIT मद्रास, ये सब लोग इससे जुड़े हुए थे। सबको मेरी तरफ से शुभकामनाएं। कब आया था वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया, हम भारत के लोग, कब चर्चा में आया? अन्ना हजारे मोमेंट, आप याद करिए उन रैलीज को, बहुत बोलते थे, हमारी लोकसभा में भी चर्चा होती थी, तब भी कहते थे वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया। आज श्रीनिवासन जी ने भी इसको इम्प्रेस किया। उसके बाद अभी मौली साहब कह रहे थे लोकपाल का विषय भी उसी, लेकिन एक विषय मौली साहब आया था उस चर्चाओं में, वो था कि मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट सारे ही बेकार हैं, ये विषय भी आया था। इस विषय को टैकल करने के लिए APJ अब्दुल कलाम साहब ने एक विजन दिया कि सारे ही मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट बेकार नहीं है, एंड ही डिलीवर ए लेक्चर इन IIT मद्रास कि कैन बी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ए कमिटी और सिविल सोसाइटी कैन कम फॉरवर्ड कि कुछ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट अच्छा काम करते हैं, उनको हम अवार्ड दे सकें, और उसी के कारण ये सांसद रत्ना अवार्ड का जन्म हुआ। श्रीनिवासन जी ने ये बीड़ा उठाया, इसलिए सांसद रत्ना टीम को हम बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देते हैं। वहीं ये जन्म हुआ। उसके बाद हंसराज अहीर जी को पता है, मेरे ख्याल में फर्स्ट अवार्ड इन्हीं को मिला होगा। हंसराज अहीर जी को भी बधाई दीजिए। ये बहुत बोले हैं लोकसभा में, और जब बहुत बोलते हैं तो कोई न कोई इंपॉर्टेंट चीज पब्लिक के लिए निकलती है। बहुत फेमस हुए भी हैं। स्कैम के मामले में जो इशू आया था, इसमें यही फेमस हुए थे, कोल वाले इशू में। ऐसे फिर उसके बाद कभी मुझे बुलाया गया, कभी और भी, फिर लेकिन हम जब जूरी के लोग बैठे तो जब हमने ये तय किया तो भाई लोकसभा अलोन, तो हमने राज्यसभा को भी चुना। उसके लिए भी सांसद रत्ना टीम को बधाई। राज्यसभा के एमपी भी अवार्ड ले रहे हैं, उनको भी बधाई दीजिए, ताली बजा के तो बधाई दीजिए उनको। उसके बाद नया ऐड हुआ कमेटी, कि कमेटी इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीडिंग, पार्लियामेंट्री फंक्शन। तो उसके बाद कमेटी को भी अवार्ड देने का काम हुआ। उसके बाद एक बहुत बड़ा काम हुआ, ओवरऑल परफॉर्मर। उसमें जूरी ने बहुत निष्पक्ष काम किया। भर्तरी मेहताब और एन.के. प्रेमचंद्रन को जब चुना तो बहुत बड़ा काम किया। ताली बजा के दोनों का स्वागत करिए, हमारे बेस्ट पार्लियामेंटेरियन हैं। भर्तरी मेहताब जो बीजू जनता दल से आते हैं, आरएसपी से आप एन.के. प्रेमचंद्रन जी आते हैं। ये सारे जो पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स के, अभी मैं दो आपके वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया वेंकैया नायडू का और श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया, ये आपके संदेश पढ़ रहा था। इनमें जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर का संदेश है वो क्लियर कट आपको कांग्रेचुलेशन देता है जी। ये सांसद रत्ना टीम को ये स्वीकार करना चाहिए। क्या कह रहे हैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर? कांग्रेचुलेशन टू ऑल द पार्लियामेंटेरियन हु आर बीइंग रिकॉग्नाइज्ड फॉर देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन टू पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीडिंग्स। यहाँ शब्द अंडरलाइन, पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीडिंग्स। आई ऑल्सो कांग्रेचुलेट प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन फॉर देयर प्रोएक्टिव इनिशिएटिव। प्रोएक्टिव इनिशिएटिव, जोरदार ताली बजा के तो स्वागत कीजिए। मैं वही जिक्र कर रहा था, एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम ने सोचा, लेकिन प्रोएक्टिव इनिशिएशन किसने लिया? प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन। बोलिए जोर से भैया, किसने लिया? किसने लिया? अरे थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए, किसने लिया? प्राइम पॉइंट, जोर से बोलिए ना, किसने लिया? ये फंक्शन भी आज उन्होंने आयोजित किया है, इसलिए जोर से ताली बजा के स्वागत करो। आई ऑल्सो कांग्रेचुलेट प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन फॉर देयर प्रोएक्टिव इनिशिएटिव इन ऑनरिंग द एग्जाम्पलरी परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ आवर लेजिस्लेटर एंड फॉर प्रमोटिंग ए डायनेमिक कल्चर ऑफ डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन। ये अंडरलाइन करना पड़ेगा सब। ये प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया बोल रहे हैं, नरेंद्र मोदी। क्या? डायनेमिक कल्चर ऑफ डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन। ये सारा डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन के आधार पर हम जूरी कमेटी में भी निर्णय करते हैं। और मैं चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया को ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि हम बहुत फेयर डिस्कशन करके इसको निर्णय कर रहे हैं। एन.के. प्रेमचंद्र जी, आपने सुना होगा ईसीआई सर, कि ये हमारे पार्लियामेंट में कोई ऐसा मौका नहीं है जो छोड़ते नहीं है। हमारे ट्रेजरी बेंचेस को भी ये जुझारूपन से झकझोर देते हैं, इतने अमेंडमेंट इनके आते हैं। ये अभी जो चर्चा हो रही थी डिबेट और डिस्कशन में क्या क्या आता है, पहला तो आता है, आप बता सकते हैं कुछ डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन में क्या इंपॉर्टेंट टूल्स है हमारे पार्लियामेंट में? पहला क्या है? क्वेश्चन आवर। यस, ताली तो बजाइए इनके लिए भाई, ये हमारे प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन के पुराने आदमी हैं, जोरदार बजाइए ना इनके लिए। क्वेश्चन आवर, गवर्नमेंट जवाब देती है, अकाउंटेबल होती है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आवर होता है क्वेश्चन आवर। देन जीरो आवर होता है क्या नहीं होता है? अर्जेंट इंपॉर्टेंस इशू उठाए जाते हैं मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट के द्वारा, उसके बाद जवाब लेट दिया जाता है, कई दिन लग जाते होंगे, किसी में कई महीने लग जाते हैं, लेकिन इंपॉर्टेंट टूल है। उसके बाद लेजिस्लेटिव बिजनेस। लेजिस्लेटिव बिजनेस में बिल टू इनेक्ट लॉ, कानून बनाने का काम 3 लोग करते हैं, ध्यान रखना। प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया भी करता है कानून बनाने का काम। कैसे? प्रेमचंद्र जी उसका ऑब्जेक्शन करते हैं, लेकिन आर्टिकल में लिखा हुआ, संविधान का आर्टिकल 123 बाय ए ऑर्डिनेंस। उसके बाद पार्लियामेंट, और उसके बाद जुडिशरी भी कभी कभी निर्देश देते हैं, आप इस पे कानून बनाइए, लेकिन वो लिमिटेड स्कोप है। सबसे ज्यादा स्कोप है तो पार्लियामेंट का है कानून बनाने का, इसलिए मेजर काम होता है लेजिस्लेटिव बिजनेस। ओके, उसके बाद एडजॉर्नमेंट मोशन, जिसका जिक्र कर रहे थे हमारे ईसीआई साहब, एडजॉर्नमेंट मोशन भी एक टूल है। उसके बाद कॉलिंग अटेंशन। ये कॉलिंग अटेंशन से मुझे याद आया कि मेरा एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम साहब से कोई परिचय नहीं था, मैं जानता भी नहीं था, लेकिन एक मेरा कॉलिंग अटेंशन था, और वो था सफाई कर्मियों पे। दिल्ली जल बोर्ड के सफाई कर्मी गटर में डूब गए थे, और मौली साहब होंगे उस हाउस में उस समय, और प्रेमचंद्रन जी भी होंगे। वो वाच कर रहे थे खाना खाते समय, एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम साहब, और मुझे टेलीफोन करके बुलाया। मैं मिला नहीं, तो अडवाणी जी को फोन किया कि ये कौन है बीजेपी का आदमी जो सफाई कर्मियों पे इतना ज़्यादा कॉलिंग अटेंशन के माध्यम से सरकार को खींच रहा है, उसके बाद ही तय हुआ था। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी मामला गया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी डिसाइड किया, लेकिन उसके बाद ही तय हुआ कि सफाई कर्मी कोई गट्टर में डूब के मरेगा तो 10 लाख रुपए का कंपनसेशन दिया जाएगा। ऐसे ये टूल हैं जो पब्लिक इंपॉर्टेंस से इशू उठाए जाते हैं। और उसके बाद उन्होंने बुला के मुझे स्वागत किया, धन्यवाद दिया। एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम साहब ने, राष्ट्रपति नहीं थे, रिटायर हो गए थे, लेकिन घर पे बुलाया। ये राजाजी मार्ग पे भी आप थे ना श्रीनिवासन जी, यू वर आल्सो देयर, पृथ्वी भी था शायद, आप थे भुवनेश जी, नहीं थे आप, बहुत सारे लोग थे। और उन्होंने कहा भाई मिस्टर मेघवाल आप ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का इशू भी उठाइए, आपके राजस्थान में पानी की कमी। ये कितनी बड़ी बात। मैं तो उनसे मिलने गया था और ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का विषय भी मेरे को उन्होंने दिया, कुछ लिखे हुए पेपर थे। उन्होंने कहा ये ड्रिंकिंग वाटर में, मैंने कहा आपको कैसे याद आया कि मैं उस डेजर्ट का एरिया का, मैंने कहा परमाणु विस्फोट जब मैंने किया तो मैं आपके एरिया में गया था और मेरे पास कभी से कागज पड़े कि ड्रिंकिंग वाटर की आपके यहाँ कमी है। पोखरण गए थे, पोखरण, और वो कागज मुझे दिए। उसके बाद ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का विषय भी और बीएसएफ का एक इशू था, दोनों विषय मैंने उठाए थे। ऐसे एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम साहब को जोरदार ताली बजा के हमें स्वागत करना चाहिए। वही ड्रीम के लिए आज हम बैठे हैं। सर, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के निर्माताओं ने 3 पिलर खड़े किए थे डेमोक्रेसी के लिए, लेजिस्लेटिव विंग, एग्जीक्यूटिव विंग और जुडिशियल विंग। लेकिन एक विंग मीडिया भी 4th पिलर ही कहलाता है। उसमें प्रिंट मीडिया भी है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया भी है, सोशल मीडिया भी, ये 4 पिलर हैं। इसमें लेजिस्लेटिव विंग, इसकी आलोचना सबसे ज्यादा होती है, इसलिए कौन इसको अच्छा काम करने वालों का रिकॉग्निशन करे, ये काम हाथ में लेते हुए भी डरते हैं। अभी एन.के. प्रेमचंद्रन साहब ने कहा कि सबसे पहले 13 साल पहले इस काम को हाथ में लिया एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम के साथ कहने से प्राइम पॉइंट फाउंडेशन ने, और कई एमपी अच्छे निकल करके आए हैं जिन्होंने अच्छा काम किया है। उसके बाद जैसे एन.के. प्रेमचंद्र जी के कई ऐसे मीडिया के लोग हैं जिन्होंने इस काम को हाथ में लिया है। मैं इस अवसर पर ज़्यादा लंबा नहीं बोलते हुए मैं फिर ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि सांसद रत्न अवार्ड के साथ जितने भी जुड़े हुए लोग हैं, जितने भी कर्मचारी और अधिकारी हैं, आईआईटी मद्रास के भी लोग हैं, सबको मैं बधाई देता हूं। और इस प्रोग्राम के लिए महाराष्ट्र सदन भी आपने लिया, इस प्रोग्राम के लिए कई बार आप श्रीनिवासन जी आए, आपकी टीम भी आई। आप सबको बधाई देते हुए, जिनको भी अवार्ड मिला है उनके शुभकामनाएं देते हुए मेरी बात को समाप्त करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय।
Thank you, sir. I request Mr. S. Mohan, the Vice Chairman of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, to present our memento to our esteemed chief guest today, Shri Sushil Chandra. I request Mr. R. Nurullah, the advisor for presents, to also present a memento to Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal. I request Mr. Natarajan Raman to present a memento to our Honorable Minister, Mr. Hansraj Ahir. Thank you, sirs. Please have a seat. Honorable guests, eminent panel of awardees, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today to honor the outstanding performance of our honorable members of parliament. I invite Mrs. Srinivasan for a special announcement.
For this function to become a very grand success, we would like to, as the chairman of this Sansad Ratna committee, I would like to honor our core team for our 5 people through the hands of our chief guest. I invite Varadarajan quickly. He is in the advisory committee. I request Honorable Chief Election Commissioner, Honorable Minister and Hansraj ji to present the memento to him. Ravi Sendil Kumar, He is the executive president of Sansad Ratna committee. They all worked day in and day out for the past 2-3 months. And Sridhar Raj is the general secretary. And yesterday they left, they slept at 3 o'clock. They were in the hall here. Srinivas Gopal is a IT wing. He handles the IT wing and live. He is the secretary of the Sansad Ratna committee. Natarajan Raman, he is also the secretary. And he is also the trustee of Prime Point Foundation. Umesh is the private secretary to our Honorable MP Barneji. In fact, he has become part of our team now for all our support. Umesh ji, thank you. Above all, I would like to specially thank Priyadarshini Ragul, who is the president of Sansad Ratna committee, who has been, first time she has taken over as president. We have a policy that seniors will mentor. This is, I call it a Sansad Ratna model. Seniors will mentor, youngsters will seniors will handhold, youngsters will execute. This model we have experimented. This has worked well. Priyadarshini Ragul. We will not allow you to retire. We will not allow you to retire. No, I am not returning. Only handholding. Handholding. Priyadarshini Ragul, she is a president, she has done excellent job. In fact, I should also thank Mr. Ragul here. I think he must be here. Her husband, who has been so kind enough to... Ragul, can you also come over here on the stage? And Mr. Ragul is a Supreme Court advocate on record, and he has been so kind enough to... Ragul and Priya. Where is Ragul? Please join. In fact, the book itself is about how the family supports ladies. That is what the book we released. Unless there is a family support, women cannot be successful. So thank you. Over to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Priya. I request Mr. Siddharth Malinandan from the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee to now deliver our vote of thanks.
On behalf of the Prime Point Foundation, Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, Next Gen Political Leaders, NGPL, and E-Magazine Pre-Sense, I thank the Honorable Chief Election Commissioner, Shri Sushil Chandra Ji, for sparing his valuable time to be the chief guest. I also thank Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal Ji, who is the chairman of the jury committee, for presiding over the function and guiding us through. I thank jury members Shri M.K. Premachandran Ji, Shri Srirang Appa Barne Ji, Shri B. Srinivas Prabhu Ji for participating in the event and guiding us through. I thank Dr. Veerappa Moili Ji and all other honorable members of Parliament and awardees for their participation. I thank all our invitees and media friends who have responded to our invitation and honored us with their presence. I also thank our volunteers who have passionately come over here from Chennai. But for their support, this event could not have been successfully organized. Our sincere appreciation and regards to the outstanding musical recitation from the students of Hindu College, University of Delhi. I also thank the sponsors, IndusInd Bank, Satyabama University, DAV Group of Schools, Chennai, Bharat Petroleum Corporation, Andhra Bank, and Reliance Softech Limited. Last but not the least, I thank the Resident Commissioner, Additional Resident Commissioner, Assistant Resident Commissioner, and other officials of New Maharashtra Sadan for their support. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Siddharth Malinandan. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of parliament, this marks the conclusion of the 12th edition of the Sansad Ratna Awards presented by the Prime Point Foundation, Next Generation Political Leaders, and the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee. We hope to see you all next year for the 13th edition of the Sansad Ratna Awards. We would be doing the national anthem right now, so we request all of you to just please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, lunch will be served for our honorable parliamentarians on the ground floor, and all other guests can please join us for lunch on the first floor. We will resume the second half of our program after lunch this afternoon. Thank you.
May I request all the award recipient member of parliaments, please give your bites after receiving your award outside. We have a checkerboard placed and there is an exclusive videographer there. Kindly give your bites after receiving your prestigious Sansad Ratna awards. The bites are taken at the lobby. Kindly please give your bites at the lobby. Thank you.